FC Barcelona, a team which has had a ton of praise in the past, but is now a joke. How did this happen, you might ask? Well, that's what I'm going to be telling you in this video. The very beginning. During the 2003 to 2004 season, Barcelona was having problems and it was hindering their ability to win. They were getting thumped every other game, it seemed, and they had even lost to their biggest rivals, Real Madrid, at their home stadium. Ranked 12th in the league and 18 points behind the leaders Real Madrid, the fans said enough is enough and demanded a new coach. A wave of optimism engulfed the fans of Barca, and the horrific reign of their previous coach had been stopped. Joan Laporta, a 40-year-old Barcelonian lawyer, was chosen as the new coach. The fact that Laporta's campaign was publicly endorsed by former Barcelona players went a long way in terms of voting. His first steps to fixing the mess was to assemble a collection of assistants and like-minded men to help restore his beloved club to its former glory. Sandro Rosell would be his vice president. Ferran Soriano would devise the marketing strategy. Marc Ingla would act as a general manager, and former Barca player Tahiki was to be the director. The group's aim was to reconcile debts of 150 million euros left behind by the previous regime and bring a beautiful attacking, winning team back to Barcelona. Barcelona's performances had been horrendous for the majority of the previous season, and it was vital for them to come up with a solution soon. With Barcelona at 12th in the table, Serbian coach Radomir Antić was drafted in to steady the ship, and to some degree he did, guiding the team to a 6th place finish, ensuring tournament qualification. Although this was better, 6th was not where Barcelona aspired to be. Antić was not retained, and a new manager was sought to restore Barca to the upper ranks of the Champions League, where they felt they belonged. Short of ideas, Laporta turned to his group for advice on where to look next. Surprisingly, they recommended a man with only 5 years under his belt, none of which were with a major club. Frank Rijkaard was the man they chose, a legend as a player and a long-time Dutch international winner of back-to-back European Cups. Although his playing career was good, his managerial career had failed to reach such success. Hardly a glowing option, but the group saw something in Rijkaard. More importantly, they saw a man with the temperament to cope with the pressure of undertaking the Barca job. Skeptical of the idea that such an inexperienced coach was the right choice, yet trusting his team, Laporta put his faith into Rijkaard. That faith would be tested over the months that followed. With the promise of reduced debt and on-field success, Laporta had also persuaded voters with the possibility of signing David Beckham from Manchester United. Beckham was a global superstar, and Laporta was sure that he could sign him. He was wrong. Beckham opted to join Real Madrid, and it proved the first embarrassment of Laporta's regime. However, Laporta was not embarrassed for long, knowing that a huge signing was the best way to appease the upset fans. Barca moved to Plan B. Their second option, after Beckham, was the Brazilian World Cup winner, Ronaldinho. But by the time Laporta and his men had turned their attention to him, a different team was already down the line towards securing his signature. While they were negotiating a price, Barca moved swiftly and pitched a 30 million euro bid, which is about $32 million for the people who don't know. The bid was accepted immediately, and Ronaldinho became a Barcelona player. You'll see, you'll be very happy here, Laporta told his new number 10 as the contract was signed. An estimated 20,000 fans turned up to Ronaldinho's official showcase at Barcelona the following day. The Brazilian went through a collection of tricks and ball juggling as the crowd oohed and awed, daring to dream of what this talented 22-year-old could lead their club to achieve. On his debut, Ronaldinho painted the crowd a clear picture of what he could do. He did this by dribbling inside of his own half before rattling a thunderous strike in off the bar from 30 yards. The game ended 1-1 against their opponents, Sevilla, who were a pretty good team at the time. In addition to Ronaldinho, promising Portuguese winger Ricardo Quaresma was brought from Sporting CP. At the same time, expensive flops were let go, while other players were loaned out to reduce the wage bill. Rafael Marquez joined from Monaco, and Turkish goalkeeper Rustu was signed. The future was looking bright for Barcelona. However, in January of 2004, Barca approached a fork in the road. The defeat to Racing FC marked the new low point of what had become a wretched half-season. There was a decision to be made. Should they stick with Rijkaard and hope he can turn things around, or remove the coach and bring a fresh face to rebuild the team? Discontent within Barcelona was high, and few voices were raised in support of Rijkaard. The fans wanted him gone, and they demanded Laporta to act. Group members were also of the view that Rijkaard had blown his chance and wanted to bring in someone else. Laporta was determined to stand by Rijkaard though, and refused to make a managerial change. Instead, focus was turned to the transfer market as a means of resurrecting their disastrous season. But if Barcelona were to add a player capable of having an immediate impact, they would have to be smart about it. Money was tight, and there would be no lavish spending. The fans wanted a striker. They were surprised and slightly underwhelmed when a 31-year-old defensive midfielder, Edgar Davids, was brought in on loan from Italy. Davids was a world-renowned name, having won Champions League titles in 1995 before moving to the Italian league. But at 31, the man's signing was greeted with some upset fans. No sign of a 30-goal striker and no big-time money purchase for the fans to celebrate. Yet David's arrival proved to be exactly the catalyst that Barcelona so desperately needed. Adding solidity to the midfield, the presence of Davids allowed other players to play a more advanced role, acting as the supply line for the front three of Ronaldinho, Saviola, and Luis Garcia. The following game, Barca's opponents were swept with a 3-0 victory. A tie was followed by 5 straight victories as Barca steamrolled anyone in their path. Before they played their next game though, they had to prepare because they were about to face title-chasing Deportivo on the 29th of February. At the start of the match, Barca races to a 3-goal lead. A second-half fightback saw the opponents score twice, but Barca clung out to see the victory. This was the kind of game that separates the contenders from the pretenders. At the time, Deportivo was still one of the best teams on the continent and a serious challenger for the league title. This match displayed by Barcelona that night showed that they had turned the corner. They were no longer looking down and fearing what might happen. They were fourth in the league and looking up at Real Madrid, Valencia, and Deportivo. Madrid will lose, Deportivo will lose, Laporta said during his meeting with senior board members. The president was ambitious. His vision for what this team could achieve was finally showing. Rijkaard's team had clicked. They had rediscovered the Barcelona way as handed down by the dream team of the early 1990s and the great Barca sides before them. Ronaldinho was setting himself apart as one of the most gifted players on the planet, lighting up the league with tricks, flicks, and no shortage of goals. It's the 24th of April, and Barca have traveled to Madrid, seeking revenge over their hated rivals for the embarrassment suffered at home earlier this season. Once the time had come, everyone was ready, and the game began. Real Madrid had scored the first one, but Barca managed to equalize. With 86 minutes played, Ronaldinho lofts a pass over the defense. Suspended into the heavens for what feels like an eternity, gravity drags the ball back down to earth and directly onto the outside of Javi's right boot. Iker Casillas is helpless to prevent the Barca man's strike from crossing the line. Javi, the proud player, has struck the killer blow against Madrid, and with that, Barcelona have stretched their unbeaten run to 16 games. Barca are up to third and riding a wave of momentum towards what, just 3 months earlier, seemed like an impossible title challenge. 2 weeks later, after successfully beating Espanyol, Barca's winning run was ended by Celta Vigo, and with it went any realistic chance of winning the league title. They'd managed to overcome both Deportivo and Madrid, but couldn't pass Valencia on top spot. The dream was put on hold for a season. The next term would see Barcelona get their hands on the league trophy for the first time in 5 years. They were unable to tie Edgar Davids down to a permanent deal, with the midfielder opting to sign with another team instead. But reinforcements came nevertheless. The 2004-2005 season would also see the debut of a young 17-year-old Lionel Messi. Even greater success would be achieved in 2006 as Barca retained the league title along with the Champions League in a 2-1 victory over Arsenal. Though the 2003-2004 season brought no trophies to celebrate, it could reasonably be remembered as one of the most important seasons in Barcelona's history. It was a year in which Barca walked a tightrope between success and oblivion. It's impossible to know how things would have turned out had Laporta bowed to the pressure and dismissed Rijkaard when that seemed like the obvious option. maybe Barcelona would have gone to achieve great things regardless, but they would have had to do it in a different way. By staying faithful to Rijkaard and listening to the group's advice, Barca stayed true to their historic principles, laying the foundation for future players to flourish over the decade. Prime Barcelona. From the 2008 to 2009 season, under coach Josep Guardiola, Barca improved even further, playing with the same style that the group had introduced. Guardiola was a firm supporter of basing his team around the club's own youth system and promoting several young players to be the first team. As a result, it was the greatest team ever. In his debut season, Guardiola won all the 3 trophies available. After a winning start to the following campaign in 2009 to 2010, Barca became the team of the 6 trophies, all won in the calendar year of 2009. FC Barcelona went to the Olympic Stadium looking to claim their 3rd title of the season after having won the Copa del Rey and the league. Guardiola went into the final against Manchester United with several players missing in defense. The Premier League side started strongly, but Eto's goal changed the game, and from then on, Barcelona dominated with Messi adding a second to make the final score 2-0. On the 27th of May 2009, Barca claimed their 3rd Champions League title, thanks to victory holders becoming the first Spanish side to claim the treble of the Copa del Rey, the league, and the Champions. Believe it or not, the run of success continued with Guardiola, claiming 14 titles of a possible 19. Guardiola became a reference point in the sport, and his Barca side went beyond the field. Tons of international recognition of this came when the FIFA Ballon d'Or nominations in 2010 listed Xavi, Iniesta, and Messi for the honor, all 3 of whom had grown up at the Barcelona Youth Academy. For the people who don't know what the Ballon d'Or is, it's a trophy that the best players are nominated to annually based on their performance as an individual. Anyways, this team was the culmination of everything that FC Barcelona stood for, and it produced an amazing string of major titles, including 2 Champions League titles and 3 Spanish League titles, plus the long-awaited Club World Cup, which was finally won in 2009. That extraordinary year when Barca won all 6 major trophies, something unprecedented in the history of sports. Barca broke all kinds of records, played memorable matches, and won just about every title on offer. Sadly, the Guardiola era ended in 2012, but Barca continued their success under Tito Vilanova and Luis Enrique, who in 2015 won the Champions League, the Club League, and the Copa del Rey, aka the Cup of the King. Furthermore, the season 2011 to 2012 and 2014 to 2015 ended with a new record by winning 17 professional titles. Never before had FC Barcelona won so much silverware in a single season in its 118-year history. All of the celebrating was abruptly paused though, because one of the saddest pieces of news in Barca history was received on the 25th of April 2014. Tito Vilanova, a man loved and admired by all, had passed away at age 45 after failing to overcome an illness. This forced him to step away from his duties as head coach of the team. Gerardo Martino took over for Tito in the summer of 2013, but despite a good start, he left after the 2013 to 2014 season, only having won the Spanish Super Cup. Luis Enrique, a beloved former Barca player, took Martino's place as coach in the summer of 2014, and success immediately followed. In his first year as coach, Luis Enrique would attain the 2nd treble in Barca's history. Just 6 seasons after the first, FC Barcelona won the league, Copa del Rey, and Champions League in one magical season. The same team consisting of top players like Messi, Iniesta, Neymar Jr., and Luis Suarez went on to win a total of 5 titles in 2015, adding the UEFA Super Cup and Club World Cup to the collection. Lastly, in the 2016 to 2017 season, the team won the Copa del Rey for the 3rd time in a row. Now this was all great, but during the following seasons, Barcelona would go on a downhill sequence of digression from their once top-tier status. The downfall. There isn't one thing in particular that led to the team's downfall in recent years, but we know one thing is true. There are weaknesses. To start off, they can't defend a set piece for their life. For the people who don't know what set pieces are, they are essentially the restart after the ball has gone out of bounds or a foul occurred. A statistical analysis shows that set pieces have accounted for more than a fifth of the goals that Barcelona has conceded in the past season in total. Additionally, their defense has been slacking as well. Every time the ball gets stolen, it always seems that the defenders are getting caught behind the ball, leaving the other team with an open shot. It is safe to say that the team's defensive ability is something that they need to work on. Another major reason for Barca's downfall is the poor decision making from the higher-ups. It seemed like Luis Enrique was bringing Barcelona a ton of success, and all of a sudden, he was sacked by the club president. How ridiculous. I mean, did you listen to all of the achievements that I just mentioned they won with Enrique in charge? It has become more and more obvious what the true intent behind all of this is: money. The people in charge are so involved with their investing that they forget about the essentials of the sport and put the team at risk because of it. Are you ready to hear how much debt the team has accumulated? 1.35 billion euros is the answer. That is the same as $1.5 billion. Yeah, they're in so much debt that they had to let go of the only person that was even remotely keeping their team afloat, Lionel Messi. Can you guess why Messi was forced to leave Barca? Go ahead, take a guess. Did you get it? Well, if you guessed they couldn't afford him anymore, you're correct. The clowns couldn't afford Lionel Messi because he got too expensive, and you know what happened once Messi found out? He offered to cut his salary in half, quite literally, just to stay with the club. That just goes to show how much dedication Messi really had, and not just to his career, but to his whole team. Furthermore, the fact that there was so much dependency on Leo made it worse for the team once he was gone, because everyone basically shut down. Anyways, at one point during the season, I checked Barca's rankings, and they ended up being 9th in the league. It honestly saddens me seeing my favorite club go to waste like that. All for what? For those rich people in charge to get richer? Bullshit. I still have memories of watching Barcelona tearing up their opponents in 2015. This one game specifically brings back memories for me. It was the Champions League final in 2015. Barcelona beat their opponents, Juventus, 3-1, and the main trio, Messi, Suarez, and Neymar, were eating McDonald's right after the match. Ah, good times. Alright, well that was it for the video. It took me a long time, so let me know if you liked it down below, and feel free to subscribe, support the channel, because I'd really appreciate that. I worked a lot on this video, and I put a lot of time into it. Anyways, I'm not going to talk for too long. That's it. I'm out. See ya.